we go. Episode 201, baby. Coming to you live from Letna Park, Ferndale, Michigan, Hradec Králové. All over the place. Well, 2 continents, but still, not too bad. Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here recording episode 201, the big 201 today, and we have a very special guest. We're going to have a little virtual reunion of sorts today. So we have a special guest coming in from the Czech Republic. We'll introduce him in a moment. But this episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about language learning, our time spent together in the Czech Republic, and all sorts of other fun stuff. So stay tuned if you're excited to talk about some language learning, what it's like being in the Czech Republic, what it's like not being in the Czech Republic as well, I guess. And it'll be a good time. But first, without further ado, my partner in crime and my good buddy Jared. What is going on, Jared?
Hello. Not much is going on, Chad. It's a lovely day outside today. It's great. It's
like
sunny.
77 degrees.
Yeah, I was going to say
tank top
80,
weather.
But I'll give it 77. Please, if you want to see some of this beautiful weather, you can follow us on Instagram. Maybe spread a little.
That'd be nice.
You can also. I don't know if we have any examples of it. That's why I hesitated. But that's okay. And then also, please, Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number 1, 5-star reviews.
Spread a little love.
And then if you do give us the 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher, we'll obviously say
Spasiba,
because we're very appreciative for all these reviews that we aren't getting.
That is right.
Oh, that's all I have to say, I guess. I was going to go on more about the weather, but I guess I don't have to.
It is absolutely gorgeous for sure, Jared. I'd be tanked up like you are right now, but I actually have burned the crap out of my shoulders from doing yard work yesterday, so not tanked today.
Well, why can't you wear a tank? Because your
not
shoulders
trying to
are...
show off my lobster red shoulders right now, Jared. It's not a good look. Not a good look. But you know what is a good look, Jared? My good buddy David, who has been so kind to join us today. Just to give all of our listeners some context, David and I were Fulbright English teaching assistants in 2018 and 2019. I was in Chomutov and he was in Hradec Králové, which is a beautiful city in the Czech Republic, about an hour and 20, 30 minutes from Prague, I think, by train, somewhere around there. David has spent time in St. Petersburg in Russia, is a gentleman and a scholar, and we're very happy to have him on today. And how are you doing today, David?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on. As you said, I've been on here before. I think this may be my 3rd or 4th time.
Number 3, I think, yeah.
It's been a while. It's been about a year.
So we have a lot to talk about today, and get caught up on that is for sure. First of all, how are things going in Hradec Králové in the Czech Republic right now?
Things are going great. The situation everywhere with COVID is a little scary. Mm-hmm. But tomorrow is actually the first day that we are allowed to go outside without our masks on.
Oh, interesting.
That's
okay.
a big step.
So you mean in public in general, or like into stores and stuff?
In public in general.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
And now, David, can you tell us, is there any specific, do you know what the justification of that is to,
So in the beginning, I think, I'm not exactly sure when quarantine started, but the middle of March, immediately the Czech Republic said, you have to wear masks if you go out in public. Now, when they said that, more than half the people didn't have a single mask, right? Mm-hmm. People, before this happened, generally didn't keep a face mask on them.
Right.
And so everyone started making face masks, buying face masks if they could. And a lot of people made face masks and gave them out for free. And people have had to wear them ever since. So that's been nearly a month and a half ago.
Okay.
And now that, the cases are I wouldn't say they're down completely, but they're at a constant low level. And things are opening back up. The economy is opening back up. The government finally said, okay, in public, outside, you don't need it. But if you go in a grocery store or restaurant, you should have it on.
Okay.
I'm still scared to go not into public. I go outside without a mask and I'll walk around my neighborhood and stuff. But I live in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty easy. But I have not been into a store once since this thing started, and I think there is like a
me either.
It's like I mean, I don't have to obviously, but there is definitely a low level like nervousness there, more than just me trying to help other people. I'm like, oh man, I could just stay inside too and avoid all these people.
That's true.
I don't like that about myself.
How do you feel? Yeah, how do you feel about that though, David? The fact that do you feel comfortable walking around without a mask now?
It depends where. I mean, in the park or in nature, around like a suburban neighborhood, as Jared was just mentioning, it's totally fine. But if I were to go in a store, in a shopping mall, by a busy part of town, I would definitely have a mask on.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fair. And I think it's safe to say as well for our listeners unfamiliar with the Czech Republic, Czech culture is very big on hiking in nature. So yeah, and I think that's totally fine. Although I will say, I remember when I went to Czech Switzerland last year, there were crowds and crowds of people.
There are, yeah, and there still are. I mean, ever since this whole thing started, they said, the government said, you shouldn't be going to shopping malls, you shouldn't be going to restaurants, but you could take a walk out in nature. And Czechs, of course, loving nature, took that to heart. Yep. And there was a time where I felt there were more people out on the walking trails in the forest than in the supermarket.
Right. So, could be. Yeah, that could be.
So you may be safer in the supermarket in terms of catching COVID.
I mean, that makes me feel a little bit better because, here in the U.S., we see all these videos of these Florida people on beaches packed to the brim. Actually, your neck of the woods today, David, in the Ozarks, there was some pool or something that was overflowing with people. And it's sometimes I think I see that and I'm like, oh, we're so stupid as Americans, which is probably true. But it does add some perspective to be like, no, this is humans in general need to get outside and need to not stay trapped. It makes me not, it makes me feel a little bit better about America. Let's put it that way.
Right. I think right now it's easy to point the finger and judge too, because things are so different for so many places, I've been more or less here at my parents' house, since the end of February. I went out once to see Jared, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I've been at home. And I think I'm starting to feel definitely a little bit stir crazy, so I understand why people do it. But I think it's, like Jared and I have discussed in previous episodes, there's this kind of logical imbalance here where people are doing a lot of things properly, right? They're washing their hands, they're wearing a mask, they're doing whatever. But then at the same time, you see people, 1 foot next to each other outside and maybe wearing a mask, maybe not. And so it's really interesting to see.
I went on a point A to point A road trip. And I actually was out in Dexter, in Ann Arbor area, and I just went I went to Hell, Michigan, just through all the back country area, and then I went to
beautiful scenery for driving too.
It was great. It was great. I was gone for 3 or 4 hours. I went through almost an entire tank of gas, and then I went to what was it? There's a Dexter Public State City Park of some sort. On Huron River Drive or something, off of Huron River Drive or something like that. It was great. Although I felt bad because now I'm starting to see there are people in Dexter wearing masks in the park, which I have never seen before, at least in Metro Detroit. And I kind of felt bad, so I left because I'm like, I feel like an asshole.
You don't want to be that guy. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting though about the masks in general because the Western world, U.S. and Czech Republic included. Traditionally, we are not a mask-wearing culture. If you look at a lot of places in Asia, you see people wearing masks all the time. It's not like this. And I don't know, but I really like the Czech Republic's response. It seemed like they responded pretty quick. In the States, there was a lot of we don't know if the masks really protect you. We don't really know. And then when studies started to come out, then people started to realize oh shit, masks might actually really, really help. Even just a homemade cloth mask. So yeah, that's interesting. Now,
Hey,
David, go ahead, Jared. Sorry.
No, I was going to totally change the subject. I've been super curious about this. First of all, have you been you've been trapped inside a good bit, just like the rest of us? Have you been like watching a lot of shows and stuff? Any TV shows or movies?
I honestly, it's been 2.5 months. I've gone through so many. I don't.
I thought you were about to say 2.5 Men.
Yeah,
I've just been watching only 2.5 Men for the past.
All right.
I don't know how many episodes there are, but I must have seen each 10 times.
You probably could go through, still do that.
Right.
Well, the main reason I ask is because I've obviously everyone here in the U.S. was obsessed over Tiger King. And I've been so curious. Has it made it to other parts of the country? Do they talk about Tiger King in Czech Republic?
other parts of the world, but yeah.
Sure. Yes. Thank you. Other parts of the world too.
It's funny. Some things do come here, and they usually get here. I find about 2 months after, like, 3
interesting.
months after
Okay.
they're popular in the States. But Tiger King has not made it here yet.
Oh man.
Is it? It's probably on Netflix in the Czech Republic, though, right? Because it's a Netflix original.
It
Well,
is. You can
yeah.
get it here. I
Yeah.
haven't personally watched it. But,
Okay.
Maybe
It's an interesting show.
I just wondered. I mean, it is ridiculous and stuff. I just
Right.
wondered if like what that does for the like American stereotypes and whatnot, and how people would perceive that. But maybe they don't
Right.
even care. Maybe they're like, "This is ridiculous," and so like because it is on Netflix, so maybe they just don't push it over there. They're like, "No one cares. No one
Right.
wants to see this ridiculousness," but we do.
That is true.
Have you heard about it? Have you heard anything? You like heard the ridiculousness that is Tiger King?
I just see Carol Baskin memes, and I don't know
yeah.
who Carol Baskin is.
Okay.
tell me.
We
I
won't
don't-
ruin
I
it
don't
for
wanna
you.
know.
We won't
I'll
ruin
watch
it.
it.
For
No,
you.
I'm not going to ruin it. I just wanted to know if they were
stuff
talking
have
about
you
it.
been watching lately, though?
Honestly, the show Westworld, I'd never seen a single episode, and I watched the whole thing a few weeks ago, and I have lots of thoughts about it. Have you seen Westworld?
No, what's it about?
It is it's kind of a hard question to answer, but it's about AI.
Okay.
And the
Artificial
future of
intelligence,
AI.
okay.
And, yeah.
When the way I had it described to me recently was they're like robots, like in a Western world, like an old
Really?
Western sort
like
of
cowboys,
community.
like cowboy robots.
Yeah.
Oh, sign me
That's
up. Hell
essentially
yeah.
how I had it.
Okay,
explained
I
to
just
me.
finished Red Dead Redemption 2, so I've been in the cowboy mood. So I'll have to
You
check
should
that out.
definitely
Yeah,
watch it.
Westworld. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
Well,
It raises so many questions about, how far should we go with AI? How far should we go with personal data and privacy and those sorts of topics? So if you're interested in that,
That's going to be a big thing. Already is a big thing and will continue to grow, I think, the more we rely on technology. I mean, and speaking of technology, it's really crazy, too, all the different delivery apps and stuff. Nowadays, is that pretty common in the Czech Republic, or do people still... Are they getting groceries delivered? Do they go to the grocery store? How have you been... I'm just curious about a lot of the day-to-day stuff in the Czech Republic for you.
well, I'll say for me, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, I go to the grocery store about, like, in person, about once or twice a week for meat, for fruits, for bread, stuff I need fresh. And then everything else, like, all the processed foods or drinks, things like that, we order through a delivery service, and they bring it once a week. So
It's not
all the
Dame
heavy
Yidlo, is
lifting-
it?
No, that's for
Like
fresh
delivery,
food.
restaurants and stuff. Yeah.
That's for restaurants. But for groceries, we use Tesco online.
Okay,
Tesco's like a British grocery
big
store.
chain, in the Czech Republic.
Wait, did you say they deliver liquid separately?
No, they deliver. I'm saying, like, for the bulk grocery items we need. 'cause we don't have
I
a
got you.
car.
Right,
sure.
So, like, if we need to buy, I don't know, for example, 30 bottles of beer, we're not. But if we needed to,
I mean,
that's
it's
okay.
pretty important. Yeah, it's pretty important for sure.
We're not judging you over
For
here.
sure. Speaking of beer, though, David, I'm really glad you brought this up because I read a kind of interesting article. I sent it to Jared the other day, and I'm just going to read you the headline. This is from a website called thelanguagenerds.com. I love their website. It's fantastic. But But the headline is "Alcohol Helps Speak Foreign Languages Better," according to study. That's the headline.
Yes.
I think that's more or less what we need to know. I'm curious, David, what are your thoughts on this? Because the Czech Republic is a very, pub culture. You like to go to the hospoda. You have your, what is it called? Dvanacku. You have your what, 11 or 12% beer.
Number 11, number 10.
Right.
Which that has been explained to me maybe a dozen times, and I still don't really understand it. It has to do with the malting process.
Oh, the 10, 11, and 12? Yeah.
But I still don't know what exactly it's about.
Right.
Anyways, yes, I mean, so many of my students on a daily basis, my adult students say, David, let's meet at the pub sometime. Obviously now we can't,
right.
Or at least tomorrow I think we can. As of
Our
tomorrow,
pubs,
we can.
so pubs will be open? Interesting. Do you think they'll have like some social distancing guidelines at the pubs or something?
I think all restaurants are trying to maintain like distance between the tables, but
right.
I'm not quite sure.
Right.
But all the time people say, David, let's go for a beer, or we should speak over a beer, and then they say, before I even ask them, they say, because when I drink beer, it helps me speak foreign language better.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know about elsewhere in the world, but here in the Czech Republic, this idea that a little alcohol or a lot of alcohol can help you speak a foreign language better is definitely believed by a lot of people, if not most people, and I believe it too.
Yeah, I have a firm belief too that the Czech Republic, beer is a very important part of their lives and their culture, and so I remember when I took a month off of drinking beer in the Czech Republic, and so many Czech people told me. Yeah, they said, why are you taking a month off? Beer's healthy, beer's good. And I said, no, it's okay. I don't, and they just say, oh, it's just one beer, 2 beers, or, have a...
just 2 beers.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Times 3.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's healthy, right. Beer and Slivovica, which is like a plum brandy. But you kind of have a funny story about Slivovica, don't you, David? Last year at the prom, the Czech prom, right? Weren't you not feeling great? And then you had some.
It's a ribbon party. So there's so many celebrations when high schoolers, and I'm going to preface this by saying, I'm sure we've talked about it before. You've talked about it in the past, but when I first came to the Czech Republic, the idea that high schoolers drink alcohol and the teachers drink alcohol too really shocked me. But
right, together, yeah,
together. But I realize it's just part of the culture, and it's something that's totally normal here. So that being said, when I went to this ribbon party, which is one of the parties that the graduating students have last year, I didn't want to go, actually. I said, I'm not going to go. I'm not feeling well. I feel like I have a cold. And then the student sent me some message like 2 hours before it started, said, come on, David. He sent me voice recorded, come on, David, come to the party. And then I wrote back, hey, I'm really sorry, I don't feel good. He's like, come on, man, we'll have some sleepover sandwich. I said, okay, fine. And so I got there, I walked all the way there, and I still felt like I had a cold. And I got there and they said, David, you need Slivovica. So they gave me 3 shots of Slivovica as soon as I walked in the door. And honest to God, I felt better after that.
That's
3 shots, though. Were they like, was that the dosage for the medicine? Or were they like, you have to take these 3? Like, if you take 2, it's not really going to fully do it? 1, you're wasting your time?
You gotta have 3, yeah.
I think more than 1 is assumed. And then
that's fair, yeah.
There just happened to be 3. They didn't tell me anything. They just said, here, drink this and this.
It's the Holy Trinity. What the true Holy Trinity would be Slivovica, Hruškovica, which is a pear brandy, and then a beer. That would be the Holy Trinity, I think, in the Czech Republic. That's for sure.
I would say, by the way, back to that headline, that was very true for me. But that was because I was always so self-conscious, or still am, about my German speaking. And they always say the first thing that goes, when you drink is judgment. And the judgment of myself goes away, I guess, Yeah. I'm not as embarrassed about everything I say. And then I'm like, oh, I guess I do know how to say that. and you don't think about it as much. It almost feels like it's coming more naturally when you drink a little bit.
I mean, what do they call it? A social lubricant? Isn't that what they call it?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So and I think the three of us have all had experiences together where we've been in a foreign country, we've been having a beer or two, or a Slivovica or two or three, and and we try to speak in Czech or German or whatever, and I completely agree as well with both of you that you're not in your head as much,
Yeah, you're not obsessing over every mistake. It's
you might be making more mistakes, but who cares, right?
Yeah.
You're at the bar. Do you really think somebody's gonna hear you say der Bier instead of das Bier and be like, I'm sorry, you need to please leave the table?
We know that sober, but we still, at least I still let it slow me down,
Right.
And yet, I could have a few drinks with me and be like, I could say Eine and not Einen, and I think they'll still understand the gist of the sentence.
Yep.
That is true, though. I wonder if they could somehow, I was going to say, put that into like a pill or something. But I think that might be like the limitless drug.
Maybe. Could be. I would love to see like an actual study be carried out. Like a legit study from like a good university or an R1 research university where they do some like placement tests for language, and then give these people a few drinks and have them do some more placement tests and see.
Oh, that would be interesting.
That would be really fun.
But I feel like, but see, I wonder if it would translate to test taking. Like it would have to be some sort of speaking test.
Exactly, it would probably be an OPI, an oral proficiency something. OPI.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know there's an official term.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's all sorts of different ones. But yeah, that is pretty interesting though, and I think the pub is also just a great place for people to socialize too. So you pick up a lot more. I know. For David and I don't mean to sound unprofessional here because we've been talking a lot about drinking, but David and I think learned a lot of Czech going out to pubs in the Czech Republic.
Much. I learned some of the most important basic vocabulary, and I learned, you can study books as much as you want, but in terms of learning local slang and things like that, nothing will teach you better than meeting people in the pub and talking with them and them saying, "Oh, David, have you heard this local slang word? Let me teach it to you."
Right. So how do people react when you use these slang terms, David?
Well, I mean, none of them. I usually only use them with friends, right? Because
don't put it down.
Yeah,
that's like up your ass, right? Or
yeah, yeah.
Still remember a few Czech ones.
I'm usually not saying that with a stranger.
Right,
I mean, right.
I would hope not.
If they try to hit me with the car, I might say it. But
right.
Usually, I'm not saying that word unless I'm just joking around. So I mean, I think sometimes people are impressed by just me knowing like a local thing.
Sure.
Right, but I mean, you don't get a chance to use them with strangers very much. They're more for using with your friends.
Do you have any that come to mind? I'm just curious. I want to learn a new Czech word today.
Well, I think we talked about this in a previous podcast, but it's the word mrtě.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right, it's slang. Right, it means hella.
Yeah,
like that's hella good.
Yeah, I remember mrtě. Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. Yeah.
So how's your Czech in year 2? Like you were pretty good the first stint around, but then you went back to the U.S. for how long? How long were you in?
2.5 months.
Okay,
so
and then you went back,
right?
Right. Yeah. And now you're back.
Summer vacation. Now I'm back. I mean, I definitely right now I can't really say that it's getting so much better because I'm inside most of the day, every day. I'm speaking English. I have web lessons where I speak English.
Right.
And I speak English with my girlfriend, and it's English all day, so I'm not exposed to Czech daily. But at the same time, being here another year, I think I've gotten so much better conversationally and with my pronunciation.
Oh, I'll bet.
I mean, my girlfriend complimented me the other day. She said I said a word and she wouldn't have recognized that I was a foreigner.
Oh, nice!
So
it's high praise.
That's a big compliment.
I felt pretty good about that. Yeah.
Chad gets that in German, and you should see the smile that lights up on his face,
especially at the pub, for sure. That makes sense though. That doesn't surprise me.
Are you still so you're teaching at the same school, right?
No, a different one, right?
School.
No,
different school.
Are you still in Fulbright?
No, it's Fulbright only lasts for 1 year. So, I think we all would have stayed if we could.
Oh, for sure.
But that's for 1 year, and then I found another job teaching at an elementary school, and I also have my own private teaching business, you could say. Like I have private students, and I go to businesses and teach them there. Right now, it's mostly online, but I think starting this next week, it'll be in person again.
At this elementary school that you teach at, you're not part of the Fulbright program, but do you still get treated like a little bit of a celebrity?
No,
like the American.
Not really.
Really. Okay.
No.
Do you miss it, or do you, or
oh yeah,
or do you like being a normal person?
The celebrity status, it's good not to have to deal with that all the time. But the Fulbright program itself, and I'm sure Chad will attest to this. It's like no other program. What you go through, the interactions you have with people, with the other Fulbrighters, it's unparalleled.
Right.
So
it's different too because you're not like a regular employee of the school. You're employed by Fulbright and you're assigned a post. So you're kind of like extra help. You're an extra help. I would even beg to argue that for some of the teachers, they're even like a visiting expert. I'm not going to say all of the cohort, but there were quite a few that were very talented teachers, really good about teaching about like journalism or media studies, all sorts of stuff. So yeah. I mean, the Czech Republic, though, to me is just such an amazing country. I had no idea until I had gone there how beautiful the nature is. There's so many great places. Where David lives, too, it's really, really beautiful as well. What's it been like, though, being in Hradec for year 2? Have you, before all this happened, did you find any cool new places? Have any new places, old places changed? What's it like?
That's a good question. I mean, honestly, all the traveling that's been done within the second year has been within the Czech Republic. I think I only left the Czech Republic once for Christmas. I went to Poland.
Oh, cool.
So I've been exploring the local area, this region around Hradec. I've gotten to know Hradec a lot better. All the neat little restaurants and parks, and really it was just more of an opportunity to get to know my area so much better. I mean, I get to see things, and I see things every day that maybe a local has never seen. So I've really gone in depth into the.
That's cool. Area. That's one of the advantages of being able to stay in one place. And I'm not going to lie, David, I'm definitely a little envious. There have been plenty of days where I've sat here wondering what my life might look like if I would have made the same decision as you and stayed in the Czech Republic. So I'm happy to live a little vicariously through you today. It's kind of nice.
Thank you. Do you think you would have stayed in Chomutov?
I think so. I think the main issue and the only reason why I didn't stay was unfortunately due to my student loan debt. So I just wouldn't have been able to pay back my loans in the time frame I want to pay them back while making a salary. Unfortunately, for those of you who don't know, who are listening right now, the Czech Republic has one of the lowest salaries for teachers in the EU. So you have to often supplement your teaching by having a teaching business like David has. What's that been like, by the way? Has it been difficult to find clients? Okay?
It is. I have too many now. I actually have to turn people away.
So do I need to come to Hradec and take your backflow here?
Yeah, you're welcome to. I won't say it's terrific pay, but it's certainly a little better than teaching at a public school. I appreciate the public school teaching. That is great to have a good base job and have a job for health insurance and those sorts of reasons. But for making a little extra income, which you need as a teacher here, you need to work that extra job. And
How do you find your students?
Teaching adults who want to learn can also be a really fun experience. I
definitely.
Much more enjoyable than teaching middle schoolers.
Yeah, because it's a different environment. They want to learn. And Jared had asked you as well. How have you been finding clients or students?
Honestly, through word of mouth. You get
nice.
2 or 3, you work hard to get 2 or 3 students, and then all of a sudden they recommend you, and those persons you were recommended to recommend you, and suddenly you have 20 students, and you can't take any more.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's awesome, though. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that now. Jared and I did an episode a while back about me teaching online ever since my fellowship contract was terminated, and it's definitely been a little similar. I'm teaching students actually in Russia, but most of them are aged 12 to 15. But it's not bad. But teaching adults who want to learn English is definitely a lot of fun, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the age of my students at the public schools, 12 to 15. So what do you think of that? Do you get any angsty teenage?
They're really well behaved.
Drama?
I'm lucky.
Really?
My students are really well behaved. Actually, there's been no issues with the students. Yesterday, though, I had a really stressful little tech snafu. And maybe Jared has some feedback. Jared's very tech savvy. So I was on Skype, was sharing my screen. Maybe David knows too, because you're also pretty tech. Both of you are tech savvier than me. Anyways, so I was doing my Skype lesson. And we were doing a reading activity, and so I shared my screen so he could read the Word document on my screen, right? Worked for half an hour, and then all of a sudden he says, "Teacher, I can't see your, the Word document." And so I said, "All right, well here, let me, we'll end the call. I'll, restart Skype, try again." And then I kept saying that I had to go into my settings, and allow the privacy thing, but it was already allowed.
Yeah, that's weird because you'd already been sharing your screen.
Exactly. So
Well,
I have
when
no
I first
idea what happened.
downloaded Zoom, I had to set it up to allow it to do that stuff.
Right.
But it is weird if you were already doing it. I don't know.
And I had a lesson the hour before as well and was sharing the screen the entire lesson, no problems. So it was super weird. But that's been it. The kids have been well behaved. I've had one student who I think his parents both work. And so right now I think he's home alone. And there's been one time where he forgot. We scheduled a lesson, and I was sitting here waiting, and I'd message him, and he just wasn't online on Skype. But yeah. So
why do you? So you went straight to angsty teens. You have some angsty teen issues, David.
Oh yeah. I mean, I got about 200 of them that I deal with, and.
What are the problems of the day? Are they all social media related, or is it
it's just. I mean,
is it behavior stuff?
It's all behavior. I mean, it's the same issues you'd have with kids in America. I mean, it's no different.
Sure.
Students being disrespectful, students not caring, students cheating.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Those sorts of things.
Good times. Good times.
Right. I will say though, China was a big shock for me, David, because my students occasionally would goof off in my classes in the Czech Republic. In China, maybe it was also different because I was teaching at a university, not a high school. But my students were so well behaved. I wish I was as well behaved as my students in China were when I was a college student.
You want to go back and apologize to old teachers?
Right. Exactly. So what are? Do you have a couple stories for us? I'm just curious, kind of what kind of stuff your students have done, and how you've dealt with it.
Oh, jeez. Well,
sorry, I know this feels like a job interview right now, but I'm just curious.
I just want to think how. I mean, honestly, it's my first year teaching these kids, so there were a few times, especially in the beginning, that I didn't deal with it well at all. I got I got a little angry. I took it personally, and what I can say from that is just they're young. Don't take it personally.
Right, that's true.
Just don't let it bother you, and you'll get along just fine. But I don't know. I can think of 2 examples off the top of my head. One is with the younger kid. I think this was actually a 4th grader because I have a few younger students. And this 4th grader, he was swinging his keys around. He had a lanyard, and he had his keys on a lanyard, and he was swinging them around above his head like a helicopter. And I said, hey, I won't say his name.
Right.
Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy, stop.
Very Czech name, Jimmy.
And he keeps, very Czech name, Jimmy Novak, right? He was swinging his keys, and I said, Jimmy, stop. And he kept doing it, Jimmy, stop. And I finally came over to him. I put my hand out. I said, give me your keys. Mm-hmm. And he rubbed them in the crotch of his pants.
Oh, wow.
And then extended it to me.
Oh.
Did
you send his ass to the principal's office?
I did.
Good. Yep, good. That's what you need to do.
I got the class teacher, and then he went away somewhere.
Right.
The thing is, here in the Czech Republic, there is no like principal's office or disciplinary place. If you have some problem with a student, you oftentimes, especially if they're like a middle schooler, you just have to deal with them. There's nowhere to send them.
And there's no detention in the Czech Republic like we have in the States, yeah.
No, there nothing like that exists here. So if
really,
students
that's so crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
That really puts into perspective how terrible detention probably is for kids.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, because they don't leave. They're doing something bad and they don't leave. They're still there after they do the bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, we used to have to go sit in. Yeah, there was a designated room in the principal's office because I got in trouble in high school one time. I had Jared and David know me pretty well. I think it's safe to say at this point. Have either of you ever seen me get aggressive or violent?
No, it's annoying how positive you always are. I'm going to be honest.
You're the most chill, positive guy I think I've ever met.
I try. And so anyway, so the whole point, I'm not a violent person, right? Well, when I was in high school, we were in gym class. I went to go up for a layup. And, you got to jump if you're a short white guy playing basketball. So
everyone jumps for a layup.
True.
But yeah.
That is true. Yeah, it doesn't matter the race or anything. But anyways, so I jump up for my layup. And this other kid threw a basketball and he hit me square in the crotch. Just like point blank
funny.
Basketball. I mean, now, yeah, it's really funny. But it was one of those times where, there are certain things and if you get hit there, I just was seeing red. I flipped this kid over and I sprained his elbow. Just flipped him on the hardwood.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And so obviously I got in-school suspension. And so I was stuck in the principal's office. It was super awkward, though, having to explain everything to the principal and vice principal what happened, because I had to tell him, hey, this dude hit me in the wang with a basketball, so that's why I did what I did. Really awkward stuff, but yeah. So, anyways, there isn't detention in the Czech Republic like there is in the States for sure.
No, does not exist. So you got to deal with the kids yourself. Luckily for me, I don't speak Czech well enough to tell them, why what they're doing is wrong and what I'm going to do to them. Not in an advanced way. So sometimes I can send them to another teacher who explains it in Czech and go off somewhere else. But
right.
I feel bad for the class teachers here that have to deal with them no matter what. It's really a hard job.
Oh yeah, definitely. Without a doubt.
I don't envy anyone that has to teach young kids because I don't even I'm not an angry person either, but I'm also not a I don't know. I just don't know what I would do. It feels like it because I feel like I still feel like I'm sort of a child, and it's like, who am I? Well, I guess you have to, but it just feels so weird yelling at people, tell it like I'm my mom or something. Right. I don't know. It just it's a very hard mode for me to get into.
I think what's worse as a teacher though is not disciplining a student, by saying, I'm going to take this away from you, or you have to go sit in the hall or whatever. What's even worse, I think, as a teacher that I've experienced when I've taught way younger kids, is when a kid starts crying in class. That is.
Oh yeah, I mean, no one wants to deal with that.
That is because it's like, what do you do? Do you stop teaching? I remember a few summers ago I was teaching at a German for Kids camp, and we had 8-hour days. They were long days with these kids. We would go outside and do stuff, but I just remember we had a couple 5 and 6 year olds in our German for Kids camp, and they definitely cried at least once a day. Thankfully, there were two head teachers manning the camp and a few assistants because there were a lot of kids. But man, It is not fun when you're trying to teach and then a kid starts crying. Whew.
See, that's the problem is you gotta like be like, oh no. I would totally be like rolling my eyes, like, really? We're doing this again? We didn't learn from yesterday that this doesn't do anything? Which is why I can't teach children.
That's fair.
But yeah, no,
that is fair.
God.
You know,
Hey, what was it like being back in the U.S. When you were there in Missouri for a couple of months?
It was fine, but I missed the beer.
Yeah,
that is fair. Czech beer is some of the best beer in the world.
Do you? I used to always talk to Chad about this. Now, who knows? Because he can't go anywhere. But do you see yourself trying to make a life out of not coming back to the U.S.? Do you think it's possible that you could just find your path outside of the U.S. and not need to come back, or would you like to come back at some point?
It's a hard question. I mean, I like living in Europe, and Czech Republic is the 4th safest country in the world. So, you know,
there you go.
It's a very nice place to live. Great, great place where you may not have to worry about all those things we have to worry about in the U.S., such as gun violence, such as, a million other things. But at the same time, it's tricky because here in the Czech Republic, for example, as I said, I have to, work two full-time jobs to be able to make a decent living, not a great living, but a living wage. And in the U.S., maybe I could be doing the same work and be making 4 times more, which, may set me and my future family up better. So it's tricky. It's tricky, and I don't know how to navigate that yet.
Yeah. Are you have like a working visa for a year or something?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because Chad, it seems like you're pretty convinced that you would like to live in the U.S. I mean, not under these circumstances, but like at some point.
Yeah, I'd like.
It's
to come
unfortunate
back
that it's just money based, though. And I get that. I'm not knocking you. I totally get it. Right. But it is unfortunate that how much of that goes into the decision making.
Oh, big time. I mean, there's a lot of countries I would love to teach English in, but a lot of them if I had no student loans, I could probably do it for a year, maybe. Like countries like Thailand, Indonesia would be a beautiful place to live, gorgeous. But you're going to make maybe $600, $800 a month if you're lucky. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely interesting though. It's been an interesting transition going from teaching normal, quote unquote, face-to-face classes to completely only right now all I'm doing is tutoring students online. How has it been for you, David? And are you looking forward to getting actually back in the classroom again?
Yes, I'm looking forward, especially with my private students. I'm really looking forward to seeing them because we have, advanced and intermediate conversation classes. The flow is a lot more natural.
Okay.
As I'm sure you may see, when you're doing it in person versus when you're doing it through the internet.
Sure.
Here I don't think it's a problem at all, but when you're teaching a class, sometimes it can feel a bit wonky.
For sure.
Over the internet. But in terms of teaching the students at the school, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, like with the behavior issues, I quite like this stay at home. At home learning and at home teaching, it's much more comfortable, and I don't have to deal with the same issues.
Is that the plan for the rest of the school year for your school?
I
guess the school year's almost over, isn't it?
Depends on the
over.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's over in like a couple of weeks at this point.
Yep. Yeah, but you're going back, aren't you, or no?
To school?
Yeah. Aren't you going back to teach or no?
I actually do not know yet.
Okay.
I have not been told.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Now, I'm curious, though, David.
It ends in about a month, so...
Okay.
So I don't think we'll be going back.
Seems like a waste at this point.
Yeah, I would agree, especially with the risks involved.
Yeah.
I wonder, though, David, do you think it would be would it be possible? I was told this when I was living in the Czech Republic. I was a little skeptical, but you as someone who's spent more time there and has experienced this, do you think you could actually make a livable wage if you just had your own private students?
I think yes. Yes, definitely. Having it to anyone, looking to be a private teacher in Europe or in the Czech Republic, I think teaching privately and having your own private business is a much more enjoyable and much more profitable setup. The reason why working for a public school also is important is for healthcare benefits, is for visa support, is for having that base salary no matter what, because I'm not going to work and I still get paid because I'm a public employee.
A more reliable paycheck.
Yeah, it's a more stable income for sure. Most definitely, absolutely. Well, we're pretty far into our episode, but we haven't actually done any untranslatables.
No,
let's get started.
Because we were having such a nice conversation. But let's do some untranslatables. I have a couple for you guys. My first one is Hindi, and it is Dur kedol suhavne lagte hain, which means the drums sound better at a distance. What do you guys think that means? David, since you're our guest today, our esteemed guest, what do you think? I got to go back to my document to see what it is again. What do you think the drums sound better at a distance might mean?
Things look better on paper? I'm not sure.
You're not far off, actually.
Is it like we have a saying here, good from far, but far from good?
I've never heard that before. I really like that. But no, I'm going to give it away if I tell you guys this. Let me try to explain it. Okay, here. I'll explain. This will be an easy way to explain it. So David and I were together in the Czech Republic last year. I went back to the U.S. and then went to China. David went back to the U.S. and then back to the Czech Republic. Extra untranslatable for you guys. Untranslatable owl going on in the background. Anyways,
good timing.
I know, right? Anyways, so David stayed in the Czech Republic. I did not stay in the Czech Republic. I really miss a lot of things about the Czech Republic, but then David might tell me, well, you know what? Like, I have this problem and this problem. Yeah.
It's like the grass is always greener kind of thing.
There we go. Very good. Yep. Drums sound better at a distance. Grass is always greener.
Okay. I guess now that I hear it, that makes sense. I mean, drums might sound nice, but if that's your neighbor, then maybe it
That's true.
might get old.
That's true.
My first one's Danish, and it's Skydad Pape Gojen, I'm going to guess. Shoot the parrot. Shoot
the parrot.
Yeah.
Shoot the parrot.
I have no idea.
Is this like to kill the messenger?
No. That's a good one, though. That's good. Parrots talk. Oh, he's clever. That's too clever, though.
Okay.
I have no idea.
It's like, man, you really shot the parrot. It's like, wow, you tripped and fell out of a helicopter, but somehow landed on a trampoline. You really shot the parrot on that one.
So you got lucky?
You got lucky?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand why shooting a parrot is getting lucky.
Right. Maybe because it's hard to hit.
Maybe
really, you think so?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe they're good eating. No, that's probably not it.
Interesting. My last one for you today is also Hindi, and this one is Jiski Lati Uski Bais, which means to be a person with a heavy wooden stick and buffalo.
With a heavy wooden stick and buffalo?
Right. David owns his own private English business. He's got the heavy wooden stick and the buffalo man.
To be successful?
Yes and no.
The yes and no.
I mean, I would say successful person. He's
got a lot going on. They got a lot going on.
To work hard? I don't.
No.
I'm not sure.
No, it basically means to be in power. You're the boss. To be the boss, to hold authority, hold power. Got the big stick and the buffalo. You can tell people what to do.
Yeah. Okay. I have one
that
more.
Should be my logo.
Should be.
Yeah, that's
right.
great. By the way, you guys should start some sort of online teaching company together. You guys both were in Fulbright. It'll look good. We're like 2 Fulbright.
Oh, that's true.
Past Fulbright. I think it would be great.
What
There's a lot of
when 2 Fulbrighters started English teaching business?
Yeah, you didn't let me finish. Then we'll make a sitcom out of it.
Right? Exactly. Do an after show podcast after the sitcom, Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. It's Pilti Ishtushkio I Kiadua.
What language is this again?
Lithuanian.
Okay.
Yeah, theoretically. I'd probably just said nothing. To pour from an empty container into a leaky one. We do a lot of that here on this podcast. We pour from an empty container into a leaky one.
I really don't know this one.
I don't know. To talk a lot? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Really?
That's a good start. It's a good start, but you're pouring
but
into a leaky container. That's good, but no.
To not pay attention to someone.
No, it's like it's to speak without meaning. So to talk about nothing, essentially.
Oh, talk about nothing. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, nice. Very cool.
Some late untranslatables. Chad always loves to switch it up the routine a little bit.
That's
so
right.
There you go.
Yeah, didn't want to disrupt the flow. Speaking of the flow, let's talk about our song of the pod today, which is by a Russian artist. The name of the song is Dom, which means what in English, David?
House.
And what's the name of the artist again? Do you remember, David? It's Artyom.
I may be incorrect about this, but it looks like his first name is Artyom, and his second name is Of Breweries.
There we go.
Artyom of Breweries. I don't know if he owns breweries or he was born in a bunch of breweries at the same time.
Maybe all of the above. Right.
Maybe he just really likes to drink and make music.
Sounds pretty good to me.
That,
yeah, sounds pretty good to me.
I'm interested.
Yeah, what are your guys? Well, the reason why I wanted us to do this song today, David, is because you've spent time in Russia. You've been to St. Petersburg. I still have my fingers crossed. I'm hoping to go to Vladivostok in September. We'll see. Who knows? I've never hoped and prayed so much in my entire life. But you've been to Russia before. Is this like something they would play at like a club in Russia or something?
100% yes.
Yeah.
This is very, very common Russian club music.
That was going to be what I said when I first heard it. That's like it sounds like I'm in a Russian club right now. I don't know what they play in Russian clubs, but I imagine it's just this on a repeat.
Right.
And some very strong drinks.
Yes, of course.
And people dancing on tables.
There we go.
On tables.
Nice.
Yes, on tables. If you add all that together, perfect Russian club.
We're good to go. Okay, nice. Yeah, and the video is interesting. I really like the video personally because I am trying to learn Russian right now, and reading Cyrillic is not easy. Once you get it, it begins to become easier, but I'm still at the stage where I feel like a 5-year-old child trying to sound out all the letters in the word and then say the word. So it was cool, though, for me to be able to watch the music video and kind of read along. That kind of helped for me kind of enforce, going to sound like a huge nerd here, but it, kind of enforces the sound with the letters in the Cyrillic alphabet, which is definitely helpful. So yeah. But anyways, check that song out on our Song of the Pod playlist. Dom by Artyom. What's his last name again? Pivo
of Breweries.
Pivovarov.
There we go. Artyom Pivovarov of Breweries. So give it a listen. Untranslatable podcast. It's definitely a good one if you want a club vibe. If you're cleaning your house or something, pop this on and you'll definitely get a little hyped.
I've enjoyed Chad learning Russian too because he's been giving us these Russian words of the pod, and usually what he does is he has me try to read them, and then he'll tell me what it says.
Yep.
And this has turned into my favorite segment is reading Cyrillic.
You try to read them in Cyrillic?
Well, I just read it how I would read it. So first I'm actually starting to get the hang of some of them. So like I know the P's are R's now. And so I'm starting to get some things, but I'll just read it. So like, there's like those little things that look like a B, but it's not even it's like an accent or something.
It's a hard sign and a soft sign.
There we go. There we go. That's what I thought it was.
There we go.
Perfect.
So I am actually starting to get the hang of it myself. Let's see if we can if I can do this one.
Yes, please.
Now, I don't
go
remember.
For it.
I don't know if I've seen this first level before.
It's a D.
The letter.
It's a D.
It's a D?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Deep.
Okay, you're close. So the first Cyrillic letter is D, then it's the R, the P, then a Y. What sound does the Y make, David? In Russian.
I'm
So
trying to think for a second.
It would be DR.
I'm just confused what language we're in.
Russian.
Okay, so it looks like an English Y.
Yes.
It's a U.
There we go. So there you go.
Oh.
And that last letter,
it's not a P.
Jared,
I don't know. I keep guessing.
That last
it's a P.
letter is actually a G sound. It's like it looks kind of like an R that has a straight.
Yeah.
R's are usually curved. So this word is actually druk, which means what, David?
Friend.
There we go. Boom.
Oh. Wow.
And I'm glad.
It means, moreover, like close friend. Like
well,
you
even
only
better.
have a few drugs.
Okay. You two
how
are
would you
both
just
my
say-
main drugs, that's for sure.
If you're just saying like generally, would it be like a comrade or something? Like what if you're just like a acquaintance, but you're like, hey friend, but you're not really my
not
friend.
your buddy guy.
Not
your guy,
my
pal.
guy, buddy. Oh, that's hard. I mean, there's actually a lot of Russian words for the different levels of friends.
Okay.
You can say comrade, but it might sound a little, archaic.
Okay.
Like
Right.
you're a communist. You can say acquaintance. You can say, close friend or good guy. But this druk is like maybe you have like a handful of druks.
It's like your homies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, your homies.
Your homies,
Yeah.
your ride
Yeah.
or dies, for sure.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I
For
was,
sure, yeah. Well, so I'm just curious, David, as someone who, learned Russian, studied Russian, now is living in the Czech Republic where they speak Czech, which is also a Slavic language. I could tell immediately with you that there were tons of words you already knew in Czech because there were Russian cognates. Has there been anything else from learning Russian that's kind of carried over for you while you've been learning Czech?
That's a great question.
Like, are there similar like endings for adjectives? Are there or similar
can tell you one
cases or
thing.
something?
With similar cases, and with writing Czech, the learning how to write Czech is much easier from Russian because the spelling rules and these two Slavic languages, even though the words are totally different, even though the pronunciation is very different, the spelling rules, like when you should have an I, when you should have a Y.
Oh, that's really confusing in Czech.
They make the same sounds, but when should you write them? They follow the same rules as Russian.
Ah, okay.
They follow the same. When there should be a Y in Russian, there's a Y in Czech. When there should be
that's
I
nice.
in Russian, there's an I in Czech. So
Okay.
writing is much easier because of that.
That's useful. Sorry to put you on the spot here, David, but are there any cognates from Russian and Czech or Russian and English that might help me as someone who's learning Russian?
Oh, man.
I know that's a big question. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
I think Russian uses more English words. Like in, how to say this? It uses more English words as to play a certain role, right? Like, for example, I was in Russia and I would be passing by some place and I would see in Cyrillic letters, lunch special,
really? Okay.
like written out in Cyrillic, pronounced like that, lunch special, right? Where they just took some English
Isn't
word
steak
and
also
threw it
the
in.
same in Russian too?
Beef steak, right? Beef steak, right? But in Czech, oftentimes they use, there's a real Czech word for something,
Right.
and so you don't get as many cognates in Czech as you would in Russian, unless there's something generally from the West or something that a Czech word doesn't exist for.
Right.
I'm looking at a list of Russian and English cognates. There's a bunch: alcohol, burger, cafe, chocolate, coffee, fruit, hot dog. Does this
please give me
macaroni, menu,
hot dog and
omelet,
macaroni.
pizza?
Пожалуйста.
Пожалуйста. And then
Spasiba. That's right.
yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, maybe I just, that it just seems so weird to me because I was like, how are these cognates? Because then you look at how they're spelled and it's like, I can't read that, but obviously it's a different language.
But you learn how to. I've seen some cognates too. I was looking at there's a couple Russian pages I follow on Instagram, and it was about a couple, I guess. It was like a video, and it said romantika, but it was written in Cyrillic. That's a Russian word, right? I'm assuming it means romantic, right? Mm-hmm. Or romance or something.
Romance.
Yeah. So stuff like that. It's weird when your brain kind of starts to do that. How long did it take you, David, to actually learn how to read Cyrillic fairly fluently?
Honestly, a month. I think I did it in a month.
Okay,
but
that's pretty good.
Class. I was in a university class where they were, testing us.
Right.
Write the alphabet. So
how many hours a day do you think you were studying?
Maybe 1 or 2.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay. I'm about 20 to 30 minutes right now. Mostly Duolingo, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but that home learning is a lot different, and it's not the same, and it's also not like it's hard to sit there for like hours and do Duolingo.
Right. Very true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
what do you think about the Russian Duolingo?
It's not bad. I mean, it's helped me a lot with Cyrillic. I'm worried, though. I don't know how useful or accurate a lot of the sentences are. That's always been my concern with Duolingo. When I used Babbel, Babbel had really useful sentences that people actually say. But, like, I remember there was a Russian sentence I had to translate, like, this is a small old tree or something. I'm like, am I really ever going to need to, like, okay, if you want to say here is a young man and here's an old woman or something, like, okay, maybe that would be useful at some point. You're reading a book or you're watching a movie and they use those words. But, sometimes I'm always a little skeptical about some of that stuff on Duolingo. My experience with Babbel when I was learning Spanish with Babbel was fantastic. But you have to pay for it. I'm using free Duolingo, so that's obviously a big difference too. I'm also curious, David, too, what do you think are some of the difficult things for an American learning Russian? Like the L sounds are difficult, and the
consonant "uy" is the hardest thing to say in Russian. I don't know do you know what I'm talking about? It looks like a little B and an I together.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a consonant? That sounds like a vowel to me.
Sorry, vowel.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
It's 9 o'clock over here.
You're good. You're good. It's misleading though because it starts with that little B letter, which we would consider a consonant as well, at least to my English, eyes. But pronunciation and in Russian the grammar is also pretty complicated, right?
Mm-hmm. It's complicated, but compared to Czech, it's not. You can learn it over time. You'll pick it up.
Okay.
Nice. The hardest thing with Russian grammar is, partly the numbers.
Okay.
And then memorizing like how different verbs conjugate, because different verbs conjugate in different ways.
Right. It's like that in Czech too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, David, I'm just curious, we're coming towards the end of our episode today. What have been some of your favorite things and also least favorite things about your second year so far in Hradec Králové?
Favorite things? Getting to really explore this city and the region in depth. Mm-hmm. Earlier in our Fulbright year, we were traveling all the time, going to Prague, going to other countries. It was very fast. Humpolets, big. The most amazing experience of the Fulbright year was in Humpolets.
Humpolets.
Terminate. So, getting to really go in depth and see this region and all the great things it has to offer, I really love it. And getting to meet new people. I mean, I met so many great people last year, and this year I've also met some great people. My students come from all walks of life. They're business people, lawyers, doctors. They do all sorts of really interesting things, and getting to talk with them. Worst parts, dealing with middle schoolers, angsty teenage drama, and kids going through puberty. I know it's a hard time, and
it is a hard time.
I don't like to deal with it.
I don't blame you. I definitely don't blame you. What about, are there any, for me as someone who, hasn't been in the Czech Republic for quite some time now, I'm really missing svíčková, which is a very famous Czech dish with, what's that, roast? Is that roast beef? No, it's a tenderloin.
Beef.
It's a beef tenderloin.
It's a tenderloin.
In a carrot sauce with dumplings. Knedlíky.
With knedlíky, dumplings. I guess they're, dumplings. And there's cranberries. That's the important
one. Cranberries
on the meat.
And whipped cream right? Whipped cream
and whipped
too.
Cream.
Yeah.
And whipped cream. And sometimes lemon.
Yep.
This is on what? On top of what?
It's on top of the beef tenderloin with the sauce. It's really, really good.
That's interesting.
You saw svíčková, I'm pretty sure, when you came to visit in the Czech Republic.
Oh, it's svíčková. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait, you said whipped cream.
Yeah, they have a little dab of whipped cream on there. Or some type of cream.
I believe the term is dollop, but okay.
A dollop, yeah, that's true. A dollop.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, there's a lot of Czech foods I miss. What have you been enjoying? Like any of the pickled cheese, which is really good, or any of that stuff? Or since you've been on lockdown, I guess you can't really, can you?
Honestly, I mean, we cook a lot. I cook a lot here on lockdown just because we don't have the opportunity to go to restaurants. But
right.
What I still enjoy when I can, and isn't solely Czech food, is břízek or schnitzel.
Oh, schnitzel, yes.
I have
břízek.
It all the time, as much as I can.
Some good stuff. That's
a
Czech
what I was
word I
gonna say.
didn't
That's
forget.
what I miss. Mm-hmm. I miss schnitzel.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
And then you try to get it. Not that I've been to a restaurant anytime soon, but then you try to get it at a restaurant in the U.S. It's like, oh, they have schnitzel, and you eat it. It's like, why would I even do this to myself? Yep. I knew it wasn't going to be as good.
Unless it's an authentic German place or something. Yeah, and even then you're rolling the dice. Whereas in the Czech Republic, I don't think I ever had a bad schnitzel. And I had
they won't. They're
lots of schnitzels, lots and lots of schnitzels. That is for sure. Well, good. It seems like you've been doing well in Hradec, which definitely makes me happy. I was really hoping to come visit you this summer after my fellowship ended, but who knows when and where and how. But the beauty of today's world is we can have this nice little virtual reunion. So I'm
so glad we got to talk. It's been really great catching up. And can I ask you real quick?
Absolutely.
If there was one thing for both of you, I guess, if there's one thing that you could have from the Czech Republic or just from Europe right now, what would it be?
I mean, the schnitzel sounds pretty appealing, I'm not going to lie. I think a really good either Pilsner Urquell or a Gambrinos. Gambrinos from Čekárna, my favorite old pub in Chomutov. Would love to have one of those with a klobasa, the Czech sausage.
Nice.
One of my speaking of Czech Republic specifically, one of my favorite places that we went to was probably Usudu.
Oh, yeah,
that place was
in
great.
Prague.
So I definitely miss Usudu, and Europe in general. I was actually supposed to be in Paris in Italy like a couple weeks ago. At the beginning of this month, actually. Obviously, I didn't go, and I think I don't know. I miss walking around the city. That's what I miss the most, even more than the food. I think. I really was bummed about the exploration part. That's one of my favorite parts of going to a new city is just the maps off exploration.
Yeah, there's lots to explore in the Czech Republic, that's for sure. There's quite a few places I have on my list in the Czech Republic that I didn't get to see that, hopefully if you're still there and I can come visit at some point, we'll have to check some of those out.
Come on, man. Both of y'all are always welcome.
We appreciate it. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, best of luck with everything, David. We really appreciate you coming on today. It's been great catching up. And, I hope your students will continue to flourish. And it's great you can't take any more on. That's a wonderful sign. And hopefully things slowly get better over there as well. And it's been a lot of fun. So we really appreciate it. And if we have any listeners in the Czech Republic right now, let us know how you've been doing at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. You can check out some beautiful pictures of the Czech Republic. I'm sure there's got to be a picture or two of David and I on our Instagram feed somewhere. Check it out, Untranslatable Podcast. If you want to slide into our DMs on Twitter and let Jared know some cool new Untranslatables or send us something for an exciting new shout-out, let us know at Untranslatable1, the number 1. And lastly, please, if you want to check out some awesome songs in a different language, check out our Song of the Pod playlist. Today we featured Artyom Pivovarov with the song Dom. It's a great one. Check it out, and we hope you like it. So, as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, děkujeme, muchas gracias, shusha, and do svidania.
Hey, David, listen to the song that Chad made.
Wrote it the other day. Need some new outro music.
Sounds good.
Tried to make it sound a little mysterious and trippy, Keep you wondering what's going to come out next here at the Untranslatable Podcast. But yeah, no, it's just been me bored at home. It is. That's the vibe I was trying to go with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the bass line's
definitely
real
sounds
simple.
like the beginning of like a 13-minute song.
Maybe it will become one. Who knows, Jared? Who knows? But yeah. Well, nice. Do you still have my old guitar, by the way, David?
I do. I got a stand for it. Nora bought me a stand for Christmas.
Oh, very nice. Have you been playing at all?
Yes. I feel like I'm after Christmas, actually. I was playing a whole lot more.